"Sir, you need to leave right now." "That's what I said," steady voice, shaking hands, standing beside a white tablecloth at the Marigold, while the piano did its little classy routine, and a room full of people pretended money was a personality. The man I said it to looked up slow, Everett Cole, the kind of CEO whose silence has a price tag. Cool eyes, thumb still resting on his phone. And I told him, if you sign what you came to sign by Monday, they'll flip your protocol, and your data will be halfway to Zurich before your pen dries. He didn't smile, didn't argue, just measured me like a contract. And I added my name like it was collateral. "I'm Janelle. I'm not here to hustle you. I'm here because last time I stayed quiet, it cost my family." He set his glass down, slipped a crisp 100 under the plate, gave me one small nod that felt like a door unlocked. Then he walked straight out into the November cold, without dessert or drama, and I stood there trying to breathe. You know what I mean. 30 minutes earlier, I was in the hallway by the coat room, trying to stack flutes in a crate that hated me listening to two suits talk soft like leather. He'll sign tonight. Monday, we trigger the flip data transfers before he even knows what. If he checks the clause he won't trust is leverage. And then my elbow nicked a shelf and a flute swan dived, shatter a sound that slices a room. "Who's there?" Footsteps fast and mean. I ran. You're never supposed to run in a place where the napkins cost more than your shoes, but survival doesn't respect house rules. I caught a tuxedo to the chest. "Mr. Kingsley, our manager." Frown sewn in new staff. "So sorry, gentlemen, won't happen again." The suits moved on and the lecture came like weather. "Stand up straight, smile. This isn't the South End, sweetheart. One more scene and you can take your attitude back to wherever you crawled out of." I said yes, sir, because rent was due and my mom's pillbox was almost empty. But the words flip and Monday kept ringing in my ears. And when Everett Cole sat in the corner booth like the room owed him deference, I felt that old stubborn thing in me wake up, the part that counts the cost and does it anyway. The next day, a car showed up, like I'd dreamed the whole thing, and it came true anyway. His assistant Rafi met me upstairs where the carpet had opinions, Cole in a gray sweater, sleeves pushed up, no theater. Just the file he'd torn apart overnight. There was a clause buried in post-merge access. Hours of unrestricted admin control, and that window started Monday. I told him I'm not a hacker, I just know the sound people make when they think they'll get away with it. He said sometimes the truth doesn't need credentials, it needs a spine. Then he asked about my mom, the nonprofit that disappeared in a realignment, the college I left to stack shifts because pills don't wait. He didn't pity me, he offered me a part-time seat on his community impact team, flexible hours, benefits, a chance to read how decisions land on real people. I said yes before fear remembered its lines. Yeah, that happened. Contracts look boring on purpose, like camouflage, but the longer I read, the more I could hear the hum beneath the ink. 3 days in, I flagged a proposal from Stonebridge DataWorks. Shiny on the surface, but the IP clause curled like the one I'd warned him about. Rafi frowned. "Not on our approved list. How did it get here?" We looped in Sloan Mercer, former Fed, with the gait of a person who doesn't waste shoes on messes. "Show me what you saw," she said. And when I did, she smiled without moving her mouth. "You've got good eyes. Let's see if they're as smart as they think." We baited a trap, a fake internal file called Project Beacon, close enough to a shelved model to smell real wrong in all the right places, so the bite would leave a mark. At 3:42 a.m., Beacon pinged not from outside but through a Boston relay and into a sealed archive for Bastion, the old predictive policing prototype Cole had buried because it mirrored the worst parts of the world, and called it Readiness. Someone used cloned credentials from an account that should have been dead. Then a message slid into my inbox with no sender, and 5 words that tasted like a dare. "You're looking in the wrong direction." Cole closed his eyes for half a heartbeat. 3 people still have legacy access me. Our CTO, Aaron Pike, and the partner. Pushing this deal, Victor. Dane, you could feel the temperature drop, Sloan said. No confrontations yet. We watch. We starve oxygen. We see who sweats. Meanwhile, the board got an anonymous package full of screenshots that made Beacon look official. Words like external oversight started flying. And I sat outside the glass room, feeling like a kid who tells the truth and still gets sent to the office. Cole came out, steady but tight. Give me 48 hours. If I don't bring you something you can't unsee, I'll step back. Which is a polite way to say, I'll put my name on the line, because a waitress asked me to listen. Sloan called from the port that night. Tacoma, bring Rafi. And if Cole can move quiet, bring him. The docks were a cathedral for machines, and inside a rented container, a wall of servers hummed like they knew a secret on screen. We saw it. Chameleon, a finished system built on Bastion's bones that didn't remove bias. It disguised it. The city grid glowed. A figure moved across zones carrying a concealed weapon. The raw feed flagged him. Chameleon rerouted the alert and smoothed the spike. The dashboard stayed pretty. Sloan tapped the screen, dress a lie. Well enough, and it gets invited to dinner. Cole stared like the code had reached out and touched his throat. This is what they'll sell as ethics. A future where the harm is tidy, use it to expose itself. I said before. I could doubt it. We feed it clean inputs. Record every place it edits. Reality overlay the raw and the polished. Let them see the trick and the mirror. Rafi wrote a capture script. I curated footage. Sloan lined up a secure way to broadcast. Without burning our source. By morning we had a reel that made my stomach knot to the left. A story. You can put in a brochure to the right. The mess we live in, we showed it to the board. I pressed play with a hand that finally didn't shake. And when it ended, the loudest skeptic was very quiet. What do you need? The chair asked. 48 hours to pull Victor into daylight. You've got it. We still needed a key, and his name was Leo Grady, a contract coder who left under a cloud of NDA. And hush, Sloan rented a dead coffee shop, and I walked in alone. You think you're the good guys, he said. You think your company is different. I slid a little flash drive across the table. This is what we already have: logs, server leases, parts of your emails. If you walk, your face becomes the brand for Chameleon in classes you'll never afford, and panels you'll never be invited to if you help. Maybe you'll sleep. He called Victor a visionary and called himself a cleaner. I asked him if Victor would remember his name when it went sideways. Leo stared at the drive. A long second, then sat back down. Rafi's voice came through my earpiece. He's uploading. And then Janelle. There's a video upstairs. We watched Victor on camera, smooth as a sermon. Chameleon is liberation, oversight is slow, compliance is theater. Once we place this with defense or law enforcement, there won't be a single decision made without us touching it. He leaned into the lens like he was flirting with history. This is control. Sloan paused. There's your confession in a suit. Cole exhaled like the building had been holding its breath. We didn't hide. We held a press briefing and told the truth. Cole owned the failure and pointed to the fix. A woman in this building refused to let silence do what it always does, he said. Then he stepped back and let me speak. Innovation without ethics isn't progress. It's chaos with better branding. It costs to speak up. It costs more to pretend. You didn't hear the feds visited a warehouse by the port. Stonebridge's office found new hobbies. Victor's lawyers started saying words that sound like static. Our stock dipped, then steadied. And in the building, something shifted from fear to spine. You could feel it in the way people said hello like they meant it. It didn't end with headlines. It never does. Cole created an independent ethics division that doesn't report to him and asked me to lead it. I laughed because imposter syndrome likes the sound of its own voice, he said. Titles don't make leaders' choices. I picked Rafi as my deputy. Sloan helped us hire people with more scars than business cards. a prosecutor who believes in second chances, a data rights organizer who got labeled loud for being right too early, a journalist who kept receipts when PR tried to fold the story in half. We put glass walls around our floor. We wrote standards with sentences that make lawyers chew pens. We started an internship for people who've been told they look like the lobby, not the boardroom. I slid a badge to a young mom named Tasha at a diner on Lenora and told her what nobody told me: you belong, because you do the work. You know what I mean? A month later, I sat beneath cold lights in a Senate room that smells like old decisions and told them the same thing. I tell you, every system is people, and when the only people in the room never had to pick between rent and medicine, those systems confuse comfort with ethics. One senator asked, if oversight slows innovation. I said, if your car has no brakes, you're not faster, you're just closer to the crash on the plane home. My mom texted a photo of her pillbox full, and I cried into my tote like a rookie and didn't apologize back. At the Marigold, Kingsley learned manners overnight after Cole called the owner and asked why dignity cost extra. Our CTO, Aaron, the one who looked dirty by badge logs, turned out to be collateral. Someone he trusted used his credentials to keep their kids' treatments flowing. He stood at all hands and said, I forgot that loyalty isn't silence, and then spent the next month proving it. Yeah, that happened too. Up on our roof, there's a small metal sculpture, a hand holding a pen, 5 words on the base. She chose truth over silence. Sometimes it embarrasses me. Then I think about the coat room, the shatter, the sprint, the way my name felt small in rich rooms, and how speaking made it fit better. I'm not special, I'm stubborn. I did the math I could live with, and I picked my voice. So tell me, if you were at that table and you knew a signature would turn into a weapon, by Monday, would you have warned him? If a shiny algorithm promised progress but hid the harm to keep dashboards pretty, would you sign anyway? Drop your city in the comments. Tell me where you draw that line. Argue with me if you need to share what you've seen, dressed up as efficiency tap, like if you believe silence is a luxury too many are forced to buy. And if you've got a story like mine, say it out loud. Someone near you might be deciding whether to speak tonight.